Welcome everyone. In this video, we will learn about how to set up a heat map in Tableau. We will play around with the formatting of the heat map. We will see how we can use color and size cards to accommodate different measures. And by the end of this video, you should be able to set up a heat map like this one. So I hope you're excited and I'll see you there. Hello everyone and welcome back. In today's lecture, we will be creating a heat map. Heat maps work in a very similar way to the text tables. If you're following along from my last video, which was on text table, then this one should be pretty simple for you. So to start off, I'm going to go to a new sheet. Keep the text table there, which we created in the last section. You might need it later on, and create a new sheet. And to set up a heat map, we'll follow the same technique which we did for the text table. That is, we'll go via the Show Me option. So I'll click on Show Me and hover my mouse on top of the heat map. And now it shows me that it's asking me for one or more dimensions and one or two measures. So in order to provide that, let me just select category. Then I'll hold my Command or Control key, depending upon whether I'm on Windows or on Mac, and I'll select sales. And now it enables the heat map option for me. I'm just going to click on heat map, and that it gives me a very basic heat map. Now let's try to create this heat map on the same structure that we did with the text tables. So if you recall, in the text table, we had the subcategory. I'll drag it and put it in front of category. And along the columns, we had the years. So I'll drag the order date into the columns. So it gives me years. Now, if I want to make it look a slightly bigger, I can just drag the size of the column, and there we go. Since we have more space as compared to the text table, we can even go one level down and add the quarters as well. And then I'll again just make the size of column slightly bigger. Now, in order to explain you the heat map in more detail, let's do one thing. Let's drag the sales, which is the measure that we have selected. Let's drag it to the label. Once I do that, you will see that it gives us the text table, or pretty much the same text table which we just created in the last lecture. So basically, the difference between the text table and heat map is that text table was showing the selected measure, which is sales in this case, as a text, whereas heat map shows that measure in terms of the size of your selected shape. So if I drag this sales measure back to the size card, we'll get a heat map. And I'm just going to hide the Show Me button so we can see the full chart. Now, if you want, you can select any other kind of shape. For example, right now it's showing as a square. If you go to the drop-down menu over here, you have the option to select circle, or if you want to go with some other shapes, you can select the shape, and then it will give you a list of other shapes that you can select from. For now, I'll just go back to circle. Now, as far as the formatting is concerned, it works in the same way as we looked at in the text table. For example, if you want to change the lines, the borders, the font of the headers, etc., it works the same way as we looked at in the text table. If you haven't checked out my last video on text tables, then I'm putting the link to that video over here. So in this video, I will cover the formatting options which we did not cover in the text table, and those which are more relevant to these kind of charts like heat maps and highlight tables. So let's start off by changing the colors of these shapes. If I want to change the color of the bubbles that are appearing here, then I can go to color and select the color of my choice. And as you could see, there are many other options as well. You can increase or decrease the opacity. If you want, you can have a different kind of border to your bubbles, etc. Similarly, you can also play around with the size of the shapes. In order to do that, click on the size card, and then you can tweak the size as and when you like. I'll just keep it somewhere here so it's big enough for us to see. Now, while we are playing with the formatting options, I want you to keep in mind that although this chart shows up as a bubble or as let's say circular shapes, but behind these shapes there are values. If you hover your mouse on top of any particular circle, you will see that there is a value hidden behind it, and the size of the circle corresponds to that particular value. So for example, The sales for phones in Q4 of 2019 was 35,000. And perhaps this was one of the biggest numbers. That's why it has the biggest circle. Similarly, if you go to appliances for Q2, we sold, let's say, $4,000, 3,972 of appliances, which is a smaller number as compared to rest of the other categories. That's why it shows up as a smaller circle. And if you want to get an idea, you can get it from this tooltip or this indicator as well. So now let's get back to the formatting. We were working with color and sizes. Now, when it comes to changing the colors, it's not necessary to just select a single particular color and that applies to all the bubbles. You can actually link color intensity to a measure or a value, just like we have done with the size over here. Let's say I want to show categories with high profit in dark color and categories with low profit in a lighter color. I can do that as well. I'll drag the profit and put it into color, and that will do the job for me. So right now, by default, Tableau has applied a blue color to categories which had higher profit, and those with low profit are shown in orange color. If you want, you can go and customize these color settings as well by double clicking on the color over here, and then it will open the options for you. For example, if you want negative profit to be lighter version of blue and higher profit to be darker version of the blue, then you can do that. You can also select from stepped color. You can reverse the color ranges, and you have lots of options here. Now let's cover one more concept. Let's play around with the chart sizes. If I want to make the chart smaller or larger, I can actually hover my mouse up to a point where I can see the kind of double arrowed or double-ended arrow, and then I can just drag the chart smaller or bigger. Alternatively, I have an option to go at the top and select the option to fit with. This will fit my chart to occupy the entire width of the canvas. And similarly, if I want to fit height, I can select that, make my chart as so big that it occupies the entire height. And the other option I have is to entire view. This will fit both the height and the width. And there we go. And alternatively, if you want to select any custom size, go back to standard, and over there you can make it as large or as wide as you like manually. Now let's learn one more pro tip. In the last video, we did quite a bit of formatting on our text tables. We changed the colors of some of the headers. We made the title, I think we tweaked the title a little bit, and we made some of the labels bold. We removed the border lines, etc. So we did quite a bit of formatting, and I want to apply the same formatting to this particular chart as well. Now, since we had done quite a bit of formatting, I don't want to repeat all those steps one by one because that will be time consuming. So as a pro tip, you can go to the text table, go to the format option, copy formatting, go to the sheet where you want the formatting to be applied, go to format and paste formatting. And that will remove the border lines as well as copy the formatting that you had on your text table. So I hope you enjoyed the lecture and you were able to follow along. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section. And in case if you were not able to follow along on the formatting piece, I will suggest please check out lecture 7, which is the last video where I've covered the formatting options in quite a bit of detail. With that, let's move to our next lecture where we will study about the highlight table. So I'll see you there.